Hey, welcome back to the NOTCAST. If you're a repeat viewer, if it's your first one, this is not going to be the most exciting one you ever see. I am going to do one of my irregular random record Russian roulette episodes where I have tasked a 14-year-old to put some stuff in a bag and then find out what's in the bag. Here's a clue. If you've seen the film Seven, it isn't Gwyneth Paltrow's head. It's something far grittier than that. And I much as I love doing these things, the NOTCAST, especially where I talk about a particular album and I go deep undercover, as Eddie Murphy said in one of the Beverly Hills Cop films, because my cultural references are nothing if not ancient. And I, being a middle-aged man, of course, like everybody, has a YouTube talking about old things. When I do those, I do a lot of work. This is the crib sheet that I had for the Man Machine, the Kraftwerk episode I did relatively recently, and I have this on a post-it note, or more correctly, on a blue tacked to the wall, right next to the screen. Effectively, my set list that tells me what I'm going to be talking about, and notes and things. And I read the books, and I read the autobiographies, all the web pages, all the liner notes, all the reviews, and everything I can possibly think of, so that when I talk about the albums, basically, I know what I'm talking about, guys. And even though it's all in my head, it does feel a bit like sitting an oral exam. Obviously, I think the last time I sat an oral exam was French. And I had to say things like, my aunt's pen is on the table. Where is the swimming pool? And my hovercraft is full of bees. So there you go. So we're going into the bag of dreams. And I don't quite know what's in there. But I'm going to find out. And the only way I pick out what's in there, I've tasked him with getting a CD, a DVD, a 7-inch, an LP, and a book. So we're going to go for a 7-inch first. We're going to see what it is. Oh my God, I was hoping it wouldn't be this. Oh dear. Okay, so this is, oh shit, I'm sorry. This is not cool. So these are two Def Leppard 7-inches from the Hysteria album. Ah, dear. Well, you've got to be who you are, right? You've got to own what you've been, and this is Pour Some Sugar on Me, which is the first single from the Hysteria album. Well, no, it isn't actually, because I don't even remember what the first one is. This is Lep 2, and that's Hysteria, the title track, which is Lep 3. And you put these together, and it forms effectively a triptych of the album sleeve presented in a big 7-inch form. Okay, so Pour Some Sugar on Me. It's awful. It's brilliant and it's awful at exactly the same time. And recently I've had to get to the point where I just basically admit I love dumb, stupid rock, especially if it's done in a particularly smart way. Def Leppard lyrics are appalling. I have this opinion about lyrics. I'm a real big lyrics guy. They're really important to me. It's really important that the lyrics are actually, when you write them down, you're not embarrassed. Now, if you go way back into history and you look at episodes or issues of smash hits, for example, and they would type out the lyrics, especially to something like Two Unlimited, No Limits, and you just sit there and go, techno. How many times has he said techno? Techno, 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 techno. There's no limits. No. And you kind of go, that's not fun to read. Well, Pour Some Sugar on Me, like a lot of Def Leppard lyrics. Sorry, Joe, you are not a great lyricist. And that's a reference to Joe Elliott. A lot of Def Leppard lyrics are atrocious. They're kind of like if you'd learned English phonetically without really understanding what it was. Now, what I'm thinking of is there is a very bad but quite cult 1979 Spanish independent punk rock album called something like Les Grand Punk Rockers, and it's basically a cover of a load of punk songs. Almost all of them are Sex Pistols. It might be called Les Grand Exitos Sex Pistols, and you kind of go, if you look at it in a distance, you kind of go, oh, it's a Sex Pistols compilation. I'll go and buy that. All the song titles are written in Spanish. Oh no, it's a bunch of Spanish session musicians that have covered loads of punk tracks, but they don't understand the lyrics. They're just copying the sounds of the lyrics without them actually making any sense at all. And the enunciations are wrong. The accents in the word are wrong. It's kind of like listening to William Shatner do punk anarchy in the UK. And this is roughly the same effect I have when I listen to Def Leppard lyrics. They are pretty rubbish. and they're designed for what they sound like as opposed to what they mean, and what they mean is fuck all. Sorry guys, I shouldn't have sworn, but they are bad lyrics. So Pour Some Sugar on Me features the less than amazing lyric, love is like a bomb and I couldn't get it on, living like a lover with a redaphone, which I think is the lyric, and if it isn't, that's exactly what it sounds like. And you can imagine somebody at Smash Hits kind of typing that out and going, love is like a bomb and I'm gonna get it on, and I'm living like a lover with a redaphone. What's a redaphone? Actually, I don't even know what the lyrics are. I have seen Def Leppard once, never again. I took my brother to the Royal Albert Hall, 2018, I believe it was, Teenage Cancer Trust, because I figured there's only going to be one time Def Leppard are going to play the Royal Albert Hall, and it's going to be a hoot. And it was a giggle, but you should never take it seriously. And given the commitment to it, it was surprisingly easy to get standing tickets for the floor of the Royal Albert Hall, actually, to see Def Leppard. I didn't go out of my way. I wasn't first in the queue or anything. I think everyone else was buying tickets for Noel Gallagher and The Who, which is probably the cooler option. But yeah, I bought tickets to see Def Leppard at the Royal Albert Hall, and I am to this day still appalled by the lack of meaningful lyrics. Pour Some Sugar on Me is backed with I Want to Be Your Hero, which is okay. I Want to Be Your Hero probably appears on the Retroactive album, a B-sides compilation which came out in 1993, which is okay. But when bands do B-side compilations and they don't start with a letter S, so I'm looking at you, Suede and the Smiths, if they start with B-sides compilations and they don't start with the letter S, they're generally not very good. And it's one of the indicators that the band is on its way out, or going, as Neil Tennant said, down the dumper. This is the third single from the album, Hysteria, backed with Ride Into the Sun, which I believe Ride in the Sun was on the first EP way back when in Def Leppard's history in about 1979. The version on the B-side has been a little bit rewritten, a little bit re-recorded, a little bit remixed. Hysteria has a fantastic bass line as a title track. As a song, it's okay. Brilliant chorus. Lyrics are dog shit. So there you go. That's a few minutes about Def Leppard. I never thought I'd be talking about Def Leppard, but there you are. Thanks, dude, for picking out Def Leppard. Right, let's go for the 12 inch. I think I know what this is. Yeah, Mogwai Zidane. This is the soundtrack to a documentary film about a football player whose name is Zidane. Now, if you know me, and if you don't, count yourself lucky. If you know me, you know I know nothing about football, literally nothing. I had a formative experience in the summer of 1986. I was playing football. I twisted, broke my ankle, couldn't walk for a few weeks. That was the summer I discovered girls and rock music, both of which I could participate in, of a sort, by reading The Enemy and other magazines from my bedroom. And so therefore, my love for football waned at exactly about the time that my love for angry, shouty rock and meaningful synth pop kicked off. And Zidane, therefore, is a film about a footballer. I know nothing about him as a footballer. I know nothing about football. I know what the offside rule is. I know when there's football matches because there's loads of dudes wearing t-shirts or shirts for the team, especially when I get the train up to Stratford International and the Olympic Stadium is in Stratford, and I think is it West Ham or Arsenal, one of the other stadiums is near St Pancras. So sometimes the train is full of people going to the same match, and I do have to check to make sure I don't accidentally get on a train and then suddenly find myself surrounded by drunk people that are either very sad or very angry or very happy and very angry and very drunk. And being around a huge amount of drunk people isn't exactly my idea of a fantastic Saturday or Friday night on a train. In a pub, yep, all for it. That's expected. If you're just minding your own business on a train, for example, and suddenly a whole bunch of footy fans get on and you kind of go, oh, okay, didn't know this was happening. Happened to me a few times. And as you probably worked out, I don't like people. Feelings are often mutual. Zidane is the soundtrack to the documentary, and the documentary is pretty weird in so much as, and I've only seen it once, it's a 90-minute filmed version of a match where effectively the cameras just follow him, nothing else, just follow him, and then there's some interviews with him as he kind of does an audio commentary over the match talking about things in his life, and the whole thing is soundtracked by Mogwai. Mogwai are an amazing Scottish band. I think Scotland has more great bands per head than any other country in the world. Yep, I think that's right, actually, come to think of it, because there's Mogwai, Twilight Sad, Teenage Fan Club, Frightened Rabbit, rest in peace, Rest, Catherine Joseph, loads and loads of great acts. Pretty much all signed to Rock Action as well. And this is a 3-sided LP that contains the soundtrack to it. So it has Black Spider, Terrific Speech, Wake Up and Go Berserk. I tell you what, nobody does song titles as good as Mogwai, do they? And then there's a Terrific Speech, 7:25 half time. I do have Weapons, time and a half. It would have happened anyway, and Black Spider 2. This also contains 2 secret tracks. So this is, I think, an original 2006 vinyl edition. If you're really into that type of stuff, I'm far more interested in what the music does than how rare the record is, despite what you might think. But I'm also a completist. I've got OCD. I like to own everything. I like to know every bit of information. I figure if I know everything and every bit of information, I can make sense of what's happening in the world around me. And I often don't. So I figure if I manage to able to solve that quandary of what is really happening, then if I know all the information, I might be able to unlock the secrets of life mysteries. Or, as the great Jesus Jones said, info freako, there is no end to what I want to know. So this is side 1, side 2, black vinyl. And then, and this is the first in Mogwai's discography, this is where I have to get the record out, there are 2 secret unlabeled tracks on side D which have no titles. Since I haven't done any research into this, I can't remember what they're called. I can't remember if they're backwards or unreleased songs from other album sessions. I just know there's 2 tracks that are on the vinyl that are unlisted, and I think they're also hidden on the CD, which is why we have a double album. Would have been quite nice actually if they had said a side D with the names of the songs on, but it's better than putting on Something in the Way by the Nirvanas in the pub, knowing that you're going to have a 3-minute song, and then you're going to have 17 minutes of silence, and then you're going to have a 10-minute kind of screamy improvisational kind of, instrument destruction fest. Which, of course, if you stuck that on in the pub on the CD jukebox, you're a wanker. You know you're a wanker. And in fact, there was a pub which had a sign which said, if anyone puts on Something in the Way, I'll switch it off and start the machine again. And I'm like, oh, that's sly. So Zidane, I love Mogwai. I think they're really great. Brilliant spreadsheet music, brilliant thinking music, actually. I love listening to them when I'm walking, kind of transports me into another world. Their gigs are intense and so loud, it's beautiful. I think, in fact, when I saw Mogwai in 2018, gave me tinnitus, which, if you're going to get a tinnitus after a gig, they're probably the best place to go. Right, let's see what else there is in there. There's 3 other things in the book. There's a CD, there's a DVD. At least I think there is. I could be wrong. And since I don't know what they are, I'm going to have to go in by feel alone and work out what they are. So let's go for the CD. Power of Dreams, Auslander. So this is the final album by Irish band Power of Dreams. I love Power of Dreams. I think they're so underrated. I think that they didn't get a fair crack of the whip in terms of commercial or critical acclaim. I saw them many, many times supporting many of my favourite bands. So they supported The Mission, they supported Ned's Atomic Dustbin. I saw them, a lot. Maybe 35, 40, 50 times maybe in the 90s. And I saw most of the reunion shows. They did 6 or 7 in 2010. I got to a couple of those. They did a one-off show in 2014, and they did a tour, I think 2022, early 2023, which I must admit I wasn't impressed with. And sorry guys, if you're watching this, hopefully you'll understand, is that they changed the bass player and the drummer, and as far as I was concerned, they were a shit-hot rhythm section. Keith Walker, drummer in Power of Dreams, or as was drummer, is one of the best drummers I've ever seen. I think he's phenomenally good at it. And Mick, who was on bass, is pretty damn good. And those 2 guys locked in perfectly. They played the show in 2014 with no rehearsal, as far as I understand it. Knocked it out the goddamn park. Apart from the fact that a member of the band was drunk. But it was a great show. Then this one, when I saw them again, I wasn't really impressed because it didn't feel like Power of Dreams to me. There was a new French guy who was on bass. Sorry, fella, you did an okay job, but Eric Alcock, but I didn't enjoy that. And then there was another drummer whose name I've forgotten who didn't play on the album. Keith played on the album, and it just felt to me that it wasn't Power of Dreams anymore. It really didn't, which is not what I wanted to think at all. I really wanted it to be great, and you know the album's good, but it didn't hit me the way that the other ones did. So that's a shame. I was hoping that wouldn't come out because I don't like saying things about bands that I don't like. I come from a place of love. I don't like being bitchy, but genuinely, I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really think that it wasn't quite what I was hoping for. Okay, let's go for the Blu-ray. Now, I know one of you who will not watch this will be quite pleased by this. So, Christina in Scotland, I know that you really like Mission Impossible movies. And I'm quite a fan too, but I haven't seen this one for a while. I don't really remember what happens in this one. I think, I do like the Mission Impossible movies. They are quite good, but again, I'm going to be a little bit bitchy. Tom Cruise is an old man, and jumping off buildings pretending that you're not isn't really kind of dignified. What I'm seeing with a lot of the Mission Impossible movies is irrespective of the incredible contribution by Christopher McQuarrie. And by the way, Christopher McQuarrie is one of the best screenwriters, filmmakers, and interviewees I have ever heard. He's an incredibly talented man. He's up there with Tony Gilroy, in my opinion, as in so much as people that don't necessarily get the respect that they deserve. Chris McQuarrie is a very, very talented man, undoubtedly, and I would buy him a pint if I knew what he looked like and I was in the same room as him, assuming he'd be open to having a pint bought for him. Otherwise, I'd buy him a hot chocolate and a donut. Fallout is, I think it's I don't remember what happens in this. Oh, Henry Cavill's in it. Okay, that's good. So this has one of the best shots in any movie that I've ever seen. It's all coming back to me now. There's that, what's it called? A halo drop that's in there, the parachute into the building. And there's a bit where Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise are fighting in the toilet, in the bathroom. And Henry Cavill does this thing where like he's reloading his fists. And I'm like, oh, I love that. That was an improvisation on set, by the way. Bloody funny. Good work, Henry. Also, Henry Cavill, you're not watching this, but I don't think you got a fair crack of the whip at being Superman. I thought you were very, very good at it, but you were not given the ability to fulfill the potential that you very clearly could have done. Really screwed the pooch or dropped the ball on that one, whoever's responsible for the DC Gloomyverse. So Fallout, yep, that's coming back to me. I really like it, but I don't remember anything about it. It's been a while since I've seen it. All the Mission Impossible films feel like remakes of the previous ones. They feel like hard resets. So in South Park, where they kill Kenny in every episode and go, oh my God, they killed Kenny. Mission Impossible feels very much like that, is that there are ultimately, whatever happens, everything gets reset at the beginning of the next movie, and all of it was for nothing. But yeah, stunt's good. I really like the most recent one I saw, which I think was Dead Reckoning. I do rate that. I'm looking forward to the next one. Okay, so here's a book. Don't know what book this is. Let's find out. Oh, Arthur C. Clarke, 2010 Odyssey 2. Oh dear, we're picking all the problematic ones today, aren't we? I've heard rumours about Arthur C. Clarke. I don't know if they're true. And they're horrible. Don't Google them. Problem is, he wrote 2001, he wrote 2010, and 2001 is one of my favourite films of all time, and has been since I was about, that tall. 2010 is a very, very suitable sequel. It does a great thing, which many sequels don't do. Many sequels or many continuations of the story think, what was it about the previous one that people liked? We'll do more of that. Whereas 2010 goes actually going, instead of giving you what you think you want, it goes, this is what realistically might happen. So it has a really interesting concept, a joint Soviet-American team on a mission of investigation and recovery, going to Jupiter to find out what really happened, which is of course exactly what would happen if 2010 was real. And by the time they would get there, it would be about 9 years after the original one. The film's really good. It's underrated. The film could do with a re-edit, by the way. The book, I haven't read this book since about 1985. I recently bought this from a place called World of Books. It has lots of cheap books. In fact, I bought a book today from World of Books. It was a book by Colin Wilson called Space Vampires, which is the novel that inspired the absolutely awful and brilliant Toby Hooper 1985 science fiction vampire classic Life Force. Okay, it's not a classic, but you know what I mean. And I bought this for about £3.49 a while ago, and then I read the thing about what Arthur C. Clarke is alleged to have done, and I'm like, oh, I can't. Oh God, really? But there you are, which means I haven't read it since 1985. I might not read it again. I'd have no idea. So that is my my selection for today. I'd like to thank my 14-year-old co-pilot for picking these out for me. Thanks for picking out Def Leppard. And yeah, this is the problem with the random record Russian roulette, is you end up with things and you're not quite sure what you're going to get, and you can't really bullshit your opinions about it. Now, obviously, there are some people that think if you have got nothing to say, or more correctly, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. That was my mum, and she was lovely, but also I would have liked her to have been a bit more bitchy sometimes about various things. Luckily, if you've seen any of my previous podcasts, you'll know I am making up for that. So it isn't something that runs in the family. So that is Random Record Russian Roulette, number 3, 1st of February, 2024. Thank you for spending 20 minutes with me while I talk about 5 random things that have been pulled out of a bag. And if you like these and you want more of them, let me know. If you don't, let me know. I quite like doing them. They're nice, they're easy, they're fun. And it also kind of allows me the ability to talk about things I hadn't planned about with no preparation whatsoever. If you ever think, oh, Mark, you ever going to run out of opinions? The answer is probably not. I just keep most of them to myself, to be honest, which is probably quite a good thing, because, of course, what the internet needs is more bald men with opinions, because that never did the rest of the internet or the world any harm at all whatsoever, did it, Joe Rogan? So, right, don't know what the next one is, largely because I'm going to have to wait until the mood strikes me. I've got loads of bits of paper over there with loads of bits of homework on, loads of cue sheets, lots of trivia about lots of albums, but I'm sure something will come up soon. Okay, stay beautiful, beautiful ones. See you soon. And if you're at a gig and you see me around, and if it's not weird, mine's a cider. Well, it isn't, but I'd be happy to have a chat with you. I've been to a couple of gigs where someone has gone, "You're the guy that does the thing on YouTube," and I'm like, I have no idea who you are, man. That's slightly weird, but at the same point, it happens, right? And it's actually quite nice, because when I make these, I have no idea who's watching them. I have no idea if anyone's watching them. I have no idea if anybody cares. And when people do, and people watch them and comment, that's lovely. Thank you for that. And sometimes you say nice things to me, which is nice as well, which, nobody minds having their ego stroked, do they? And talking of which, I love what you've done with your hair. It's looking absolutely fantastic. Keep up the good work. Okay, so see you later. Bye.